Welcome. In this lecture, we will talk about some of the important questions from the psychology paper for December 2023 examination. The most important thing is we have taken some of the vivid questions that have been asked, a different set of questions which are usually not there, and also covered similar topics in the complete video lecture. So you can see there 2024 updates and that would cover the important topics which have been different for the 23 examination which have been asked. Now this talks about retrospective studies. Retrospective means after the thing has happened, that is a posteriori. So after the event has occurred, so that actually uses the data from where? From the past events. As simple as that, right? So here, what are the correct options? This past information can be explained through narratives, it could be explained through recollections or through any prior experience. So A is obviously correct. It is known as naturalistic inquiry. No, that's related to observation. The data collected can be analyzed thoroughly. So that's again correct. And then we have, it is same as quasi experiment. No, it's not talking about experimentation, but yes, biographic research, which actually is the recollection of the events, is a good example for a retrospective study. So A, C and E are the correct options for this question. The next question is certain theories and the propounder of those theories. So theory of plant behavior. Now this theory has been given by Ajzen and Fishbein. Now they conducted various norms to predict the intention of a behavior, and this is what has been under the theory of plant behavior, why certain behaviors are being conducted, right? The next is the attribution theory. Attribution theory has been given by Kelley. We have discussed this theory into detail, and this depends both on internal as well as the external variables that are there. That means people behave mainly based on the circumstances, and this circumstances is an external cause. If there is a natural thing because of which people behave in certain way, we call this as an internal cause for the behavior. The next is Tajfel and Turner. They developed the theory which was known as social identity theory. Now social identity theory says how you see oneself in relation to a group or in relation to a set of people, and that gives you the identity in the society. The next is the contact hypothesis. Now the contact hypothesis is based on intergroup conflict, and this is given by Pettigrew. Now Pettigrew talks about the fact that tension decreases when people are treated as unique individuals and not as a member of a specific group, because if you consider them as a member of a specific group, there can be pinpoint discriminations that could be done, or intergroup conflicts or contacts could actually lead to a problem, and therefore this hypothesis was given by Pettigrew. So those are some of the important aspects. Now to calculate correlation, we have understood correlation in detail in our lectures on statistics, already covered in the complete lecture series. Now here there are 4 types of correlations which have been identified, but the one we have to identify here is a relation between one variable which is dichotomous and one variable which is continuous. Now this kind of data is what is known as point biserial. It's important to understand we would use tetrachoric if it is a binary data, 0 or 1, right or wrong, right? And phi is again used for binary, but it is used for binary variables. So again, it's an important difference that exists, but this question, since it's asks about dichotomous and continuous variable, the relation between them, one which is a continuous data, right, and one which is dichotomous, has a definite value, right? The next is Bender Visual Motor Gestalt test. Now this test was given by Bender in 1938 and has how many designs? So it has 9 designs and all. And what is the idea? The idea is to understand the psychopathology. Now when we say psychopathology, we are trying to understand those 9 figures and instruct the person to actually absorb those 9 designs, and then we give them a blank sheet of paper and ask them to reproduce whatever they saw in the 9 designs. So it's similar to an avdhan, and that's basically where we actually have a memorization of what has been told, and then we are asked to present it. Now this is done in clinical settings. It is a part of projective personality testing because it would help you to screen any kind of dysfunctioning in the brain if present. The next one is, there is a questionnaire which has been developed. Now this questionnaire is on employees' green behavior. Now how would you identify the correct sequence of the tools that are used? Now to identify, we would first have the discrimination index of the items. Now this helps us to understand the ability of the items which are environment friendly versus which are not environment friendly, and this gives us the discrimination index. Now once we have that discrimination index, we would calculate the Cronbach alpha. Now Cronbach alpha talks about internal consistency. Now once we find out the internal consistency, we would do an exploratory factor analysis. So this would be the first, second and third one. So with an exploratory factor analysis, the idea is to identify or determine the fundamental elements. Then once those are determined, we would do a confirmatory analysis that okay, these are the possible factors which have been identified under the exploratory and can be utilized, and finally from there you would develop a standard score norm. So those are the steps which have been involved in the psychological testing. So these were some of the important questions that we have discussed from the December 2023 paper, and the most important questions which have been asked have been covered in detail in the question bank, and also based on some of the important concepts, specific lectures have been designed and the lecture series has been updated accordingly.